Hello, in this video we're going to do an equations check-in from 6th and 7th grade. And so we're going to start off by reviewing our one-step equations. So first we need to remember our inverse of operations. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that in a particular equation. Let's do x plus 23 is equal to 40. So we could use guess and check. However, we're going to start using our inverse operations to solve these equations. So our inverse operation, so the opposite of adding 23, or our inverse operation of adding 23 is going to be subtracting 23. And with equations, they must remain balanced. So we're going to do the opposite or inverse of adding 23 on both sides, and that number is subtracting 23. And this works because 23 subtract 23 is 0. So that's created a 0 pair. I'm going to bring down my x value. And 40 minus 23 is 17. Now you can always go back and check your work. So I'm saying that x is equal to 17. So really, is 17 plus 23 equal to 40? Let's find out. So when I used my calculator and did 17 plus 23, I did in fact get the number 40. So 40 is equal to 40, and that solution of 17 worked. Okay, let's try another one. This time we're going to do x minus 20 is equal to 18. So I'm going to put the barrier around my equal sign so I know what I do to one side, I must do to the other. And then also we're going to take a look at our inverse operation. So here we have subtraction. So the opposite of subtracting 20 is adding 20 to both sides. Let me go ahead and draw the line here. Bring down my x value, and I'm able to do this because negative 20 plus 20 creates a 0 pair, and 18 plus 20 is 38. So x is equal to 38, and let's find out if I got that particular answer correct. So I'm saying that x is equal to 38, so let's just plug it in where my x value is. And is 38 subtract 20 in fact 18? And it is. 18 is equal to 18, so I got that one correct. Okay, next we're going to move into multiplication and division. So here I have 4x is equal to 80. My 4x there side by side, and if you dive back to your term vocabulary, for vocabulary terms, this is a term, but that each term has a particular vocabulary word. That is what I'm trying to say. So the 4 is your coefficient, and the x is your variable. When those two are put together, that represents the operation multiplication. And so we're going to do the opposite or inverse and divide by 4 on both sides. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so I'm left with x. 80 divided by 4 is 20, and so this should be correct. So I'm going to plug in 20 where x is. It's 4 times 20, 80, and it is. So this particular solution worked. Okay, let's try another one step before we switch the page over and work on two-step equations. So one more one-step equation is if I have x divided by 4 is equal to 12. So here's my barrier. Same concept. The operation that I see is division. Yes, it's represented by my fraction bar. And the opposite of division is to multiply by 4. So I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides, and then that's going to give me my answer. 4 divided by 4 is 0, so that creates a 0 pair, and you're just left with x. 12 times 4 is 48. And to figure out if you got the right answer, you can always take 48 divided by 4. Again, I'm taking my x value, replacing it where the x variable was, and seeing if I get the answer I was supposed to. 48 divided by 4, in fact, is 12. So this particular solution is correct. Okay, if you're watching this video during the 2020-2021 year, you are making sure that this is on page 25 in your 8th grade math notebook. I'm going to flip it over as we dive in and recall two-step equations. I'm going to do two examples with you. Make sure I get my notebook there in focus. Okay, so we have two-step And I'm going to review 2 of those with you. Okay, the first one that I'm going to do is 3x, maybe 3. 3x minus 2 is equal to negative 5. So again, barrier around my equal sign so I can keep those separated. Same concept as a one step. So first I see subtract 2. The opposite of that is adding 2 on both sides. Negative 2, positive 2 will cancel, and I am left with 3x. Negative 5 plus 2. So if you're confused about negatives, let's take out negative 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 positives. I know that a positive and a negative create a 0 pair, and I'm left with 1, 2, 3 negatives. So negative 3 would be my answer. And here I have multiplication. It's just a one-stepper, and I'm going to divide by 3. So x is equal to, I have a negative divided by a positive. If you have had Miss Sam's class before, you've been introduced to integer man. Give him whatever kind of smiley face that you want him to have. Doesn't really matter, but we're going to use this for multiplication and division only. So negative divided by a positive, cover up a negative eyeball and a positive nose, and you are left with a negative. So my answer is going to be negative. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. So x is equal to negative 1. And you can always test your solution. So let's do 3 times negative 1 minus 2. That's negative 3 minus 2, and that is in fact negative 5. So that solution worked. Okay, and let's just go ahead and do one more. I think you guys are getting the hang of one-step and two-step equations from 6th and 7th grade material. Let's go ahead and do x divided by 8, subtract 6 is equal to negative 12. Okay, barrier around my equal sign. First, I got to spot addition or subtraction. So I see subtract 6. I know the opposite of that is adding, or the inverse operation is the correct vocabulary term. Negative 6 and a positive 6 will cancel, creating a 0 pair. And again, this fraction bar represents division. So we are left with x divided by 8 is equal to, oh no, we have negatives and a positive. Integer man doesn't work here. It only works for multiplication and division. So I'm going to list out 12 negative signs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, now I'm going to list out 6 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, negative and a positive creates a 0 pair, so cancel out all your 0 pairs, and let's see what we're left with. We're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negative, so my answer would be negative 6. Again, that's just a strategy that you can use to model adding and subtracting negative numbers, or adding negative numbers together. Again, that's just a model that you can use. And now we are left with x divided by 8. Opposite or inverse operation of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply by 8 on both sides. This looks like 8 over 8, which cancels out to 1x. And then negative 6 times 8 is negative 48. And again, integer man can help me out there, just like he did above. Negative times a positive, cover up the negative eyeball and the positive nose. You're left with a negative number, negative sign there, and 6 times 8 is 48. Again, don't forget, you can always step in and check your work. So I could have done negative 48 divided by 8, subtract 6. Negative 48, divided by 8 is negative 6. Subtract 6 does, in fact, if I change my signs, equal negative 12. Okay, so this video I know was quick, I know was brief, but we were just reviewing one-step and two-step equations from 6th and 7th grade to fully prepare you for the 8th grade concept starting next week. And again, if you're watching this during the 2020-21 school year, you are writing and taking notes with this title on page 25 of your 8th grade math notebook. Best of luck on today's independent practice.